Welcome back to another edition of Issues and Interviews with Kieran Michael Lawler on the Hudson Power Broker channel. I have a great guest. I'm very excited to have her on. It's Beth Parlato, candidate for the 27th Congressional District up in the Erie County, greater Erie County area in the great state of New York. Welcome, Beth. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited about your campaign. Your candidacy is very interesting. And give us a little bit of background on yourself, how you got to the point where you're running this great campaign for the United States Congress, and then we'll get into the details of the campaign.
Okay, yeah, sure. So basically, I haven't ran for political office. I've been an attorney for nearly 30 years. I was a town judge for about 12, and I've just been very involved really in the national conservative movement. I do a lot with Moms for America, Concerned Women for America, and just basically got myself involved because I have a voice and want to use it. And it just seems like women, especially women who are attorneys like I am, we are very far and few between. There's not a lot of conservative women. It seems like as soon as you get through law school or any type of higher education, for whatever reason they start to voting Democrat. And I said, you know what? These women don't represent me, and we have got to have a voice, and us conservative women need to be heard. So I just started getting myself involved, and over the past 4 years, like you, I've done a lot of Fox News, segments that concern conservative issues. And then when our congressman had gotten indicted, we knew that there was going to be an open seat in Congress. And I actually was approached to look at this race, and I thought, you're out of your mind. There were like 19 current, sitting legislators, whether it's in the New York State or whether it's local. 19 guys were interested in this seat. Whoa. And I remember hearing on conservative talk shows, they were saying, where are the women? Where are the women? And so I was kind of approached to look at this. And like I said, I did think they were crazy. But after about 4 or 5 months, I actually gave it a lot of prayer, talked to my family. This is a big endeavor because I had to step away really from my law practice and do this full time. You have to raise a lot of money. It costs $1 million to run for Congress. So here I am, and things are going very well, very well. So, I'm being very positive and confident that we are going to be able to pull this off.
So give me the area where the district is. I did my best to explain it, the greater Erie County.
Yeah, so it's Western New York. So we get very offended when they call us upstate. Let me tell you, I'm 53. I've lived in this district my whole life, and we are Western New York, and New York 27 is just outside of the city of Buffalo, and it runs from the city of Buffalo to just outside the city of Rochester. So we have the entire suburbs and rural area between Buffalo and Rochester. So it encompasses 8 counties.
Wow. And it's one of the more Republican districts in the state of New York, correct?
Well, I have to tell you, it's not only that, it is the most Republican and most conservative district. Yep, we are the most conservative district in all of New York State.
Very cool. And you're in a primary because it's very likely the Republican is going to win this thing in November, but because of the indictment of the previous office holder, there's a special election 3 weeks from tomorrow, June 23rd, correct? And then you're running in the primary. So
right, yeah. So what ended up happening was the special election, the governor called a special election because Collins, as part of his plea deal, he vacated his House seat. So we haven't had representation since October 1st. So Cuomo had called for a special election on April 28th, which coincided with the Democratic presidential primary, but then COVID hit. So the governor postponed the special election to the same day as our primary. So it has actually caused a lot of confusion. And I'm running, I've been a Republican since I was 18. I've been a Republican my whole life, but I'm the endorsed Conservative Party candidate. So the Conservative Party endorsed me, but we decided not to run in that special election for 2 reasons. First off, it was supposed to be in April, and we have a candidate that's running under the Republican line, and we didn't want to split that vote. Having a Republican and a conservative running, it would open up the door, especially on a Democratic primary day, for the Democrat to win. So we got in this race July 29th, 2019 to run in the primary. That's for the new congressional term. I didn't see it making sense really wasting $1 million for a position that was only going to last a few months anyway. So we're good with that decision, and I'm running in the Republican primary. And then when I would win the primary, I'd have both lines in November. I'd have the Republican and conservative.
So So he could actually become a congressman. Your primary opponent, Chris Jacobson, he could become a congressman next Tuesday. He would immediately take office. But if you win the primary next Tuesday, he's kind of like a dead man walking, right?
Correct.
He's not going to be able to run re-election.
And that's that's a common theme. There's a lot of people that are thinking that that's what's going to happen. I don't think the Democrat has a chance in our district. He even, if you take a look at his Twitter feed, he even basically says it. People say we don't have a chance. He probably doesn't. But so I think that that's the likelihood that could happen is he could become a congressman on June 23rd is our primary. And then Congress isn't in session for the summer. So, basically he'd be here for a couple months. But truly, yes, he could win an election on June 23rd and lose an election on June 23rd because of the nature procedurally.
And that would be a real rebuke of the party bosses, right? Because the party bosses chose him for this. The Republican Party bosses chose him for this. And if he were to lose the primary, that would put a lot of egg on their face in those 8 counties.
That's what we're hoping. That's what we're hoping, because quite honestly, when I got into this race, it was going to be an open primary. Even our state GOP chair, Nick Langworthy, he had told me and told a bunch of other people who are interested in this race, we're not choosing, it's going to be an open primary. What happened was they had to make a decision for the special election. So, we still have this open primary. I say, I've been asked a lot of times to get out of this race, especially after, polling and surveys are done and they know, I have the money and I could win this. So I've been asked to get out, and I'm not going to. I said, you know what? One person should not pick a congressman. We're not talking a very small position here. We're talking Congress, who represents 750,000 people in the state. And I continually just say that I am not in this race for Beth Parlato. It's not about me. I don't have a political career. I don't even want a political career. I'm not looking for a political future. I truly am in this race because I believe that we are in unprecedented times in this country. And when I entered this race back in July, I certainly didn't know that COVID would hit and our economy would crash. And then I certainly didn't know that we'd be in this position right now with rioting and everything else going on, but I knew that I was in this race for a reason, and I'm here to be a doer. I want to really fight for our country. I want to fight for the soul of our country, and I think if we continue sending people to Washington who all they care about is building their political futures, they're not going to fight for the soul of our country. They're not fighting for us, and that's why I'm in the race. And so I'm here till we'll see what happens by midnight, July 23rd or June 23rd.
Wow, that's coming right around the corner. We're joined by congressional candidate Beth Parlato, the 27th congressional district. What's the difference between you and Chris Jacobson? What's wrong with him, and why are you superior?
Yeah. Well, I would thank you for asking that. The first thing I would say is that I don't think anything's wrong with him as a person, but what I would submit is he doesn't live in our district. So he lives in New York 26. He lives in Brian Higgins's district, which is a D+11. And truthfully, we should be trying to flip a seat. He has the money, and he has, as a registered Republican, he has a very liberal voting record. He votes with the Democrats. He has the second most liberal voting record of all the Republicans in the state Senate. So he should be running in his own district. So that's the first thing. I don't like it when somebody is looking at it as an easy win, maybe, because you were hand chosen and you're looking at the easy win, but now you're trying to represent us when you don't live here. Right? This is not your district. So that's the first thing. And secondly, as I said earlier, the most Republican conservative district in all of New York State ought to have a true conservative as the representative. He's not a true conservative, which is why the Conservative Party broke from the GOP, which they never do. And there was a lot, I can't even tell you the politics behind closed doors that went on with that. And they stood firm and said, we are not going to endorse somebody who doesn't represent the values of this district.
And I've watched your commercials. They're great commercials, very well done commercials, very hard hitting commercials. And then I follow the news reports, and the GOP establishment is kind of asking you to call off the dog, saying, "Oh, those commercials are a little rough. Don't be so negative, Beth." What do you say to that?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I say is I don't think that they're negative. And I'm going to be honest with you. I went into this with my consultants and the entire team, and I said, I am not going to play the dirty politics, because that's what New York State is. That's what they do. And, I was a town judge in my county. And at the time I was elected, I mean, I'm in my 50s now. This is going back, 1998 was the first year I was elected. So this is going back 22 years ago. And I was the first female judge elected to that county. And then after all these men were interested in this seat, and I approached some of the county chairs about running, I was told face to face that there's a lot of men that are in line before you. So honey, go to the back of the line. And so I'm a fighter. And I'm not going to, I'm not just going to give up. So I think that it's extremely important to just stay in this race and keep fighting, because we have to.
In your commercial.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't even finish answering the question. I got off on a tangent. I'm sorry. So what I was saying to my consultants is I don't want to go negative. I don't want to be like the rest of them. But what I feel is very important is we have to do a contrast. We have to contrast what is the difference between Chris and myself. Why would they vote for me? Now I can't get on there like a whiny female. Oh, he doesn't live here. Wah, wah, wah. So I have to make sure that we did it. That we did political parody. That's what we did. We wanted to catch people's attention, but we wanted to show truth. And at the bottom of every ad, you will see the bill numbers. Every single thing that we put out was 100% truth and factual, that this is how he voted.
And I like at the end, it's very subtle, but the party boss character in your Rhino commercial, he's putting up a picture of Jacobson next to a picture of Mitt Romney. And that's a very good parallel. He is very similar to Romney, kind of born into it. Very slick, looks
right.
And political candidate, a lot of money behind him, but your contention is, and I think you're right, is going to disappoint the conservatives who send them to Washington the way Romney has disappointed us time and time again.
Right, 100%. You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what we believe.
And so, Beth, where can people learn about your campaign and your candidacy and your very interesting background as a judge and an attorney in family court?
They can go to everything is Beth for Congress. So bethforcongress.com or Beth for Congress on Facebook and Twitter. We have an Instagram, but in Instagram politically, we don't use it too much, but right. Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'm running this campaign different because we truly are the grassroots. Anybody who makes a phone call to our office or emails on the website or emails me personally, or even puts a comment in Messenger on Facebook, I personally answer everything. It may take me 24 hours because I'm answering 50 to 100 questions a day. But I think that we also have to be accessible. Our representatives aren't accessible to us. They're just not. And we need change. I think that what's going on in our country and the division and the lack of respect and the disunity and just all of it, it's so disheartening. And we need a change.
The first time, as we wrap up here, the first time that I read about your candidacy, it might have been last year, you got the endorsement of a national sports hero, but really a sports hero from your area, Jim Kelly,
yes.
Won the AFC Championship 4 times for the Buffalo Bills. Tell us about that. How do you know him, and how does that play in the political arena?
Yeah. So Jim and his wife, Jill, I've been friends with for well over 20 years. Our kids, so their oldest daughter and then also their youngest daughter, their 2 daughters are the same age as my 2 daughters. So 21 and 25. And so they went to school together, K through 12, at a small Christian school here in Western New York. And through that, I think that Jill and I became friends when our oldest daughters were in 2nd or 3rd grade. So we just hit it off. We are very similar. So we're just become good friends. And then obviously, our families are very close. And our daughters then went to college together at Liberty University in Virginia. So they were in each other's weddings. Our oldest daughters both stood up in each other's weddings. So which is a very close relationship. And they have been, they were ones that encouraged me to get in this race because they know me and they know what my motives are. The motives aren't for me. They're really for everybody in the district. So they've been coming right alongside me and supporting me.
All right, that is great. I really wanted to ask you that question because I'm a big sports fan. I'm a Giants fan, but that's kind of the heyday of the NFL in my book.
Oh, it wasn't it? Everybody loves Jim Kelly. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Good guy. I had the chance to meet him once in the Capitol. Beth Parlato, she's running for Congress. The primary is in just 3 weeks.
Yes.
Support her. Check out her website, 27th District of New York. We need somebody from outside the establishment. We need conservatives. Go get them, Beth.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you having me. I really do.
My pleasure.